And then when you're used to people that, that obviously live in a perfect world themselves, they're perfect, they don't make mistakes, and you got them trying to chastise you and tear you down. When in actuality, they're only doing what was done to them. So it just keeps passing along the poison instead of learning to like heal. Like instead of belittling one, let's educate. You know what I mean? From your own perspective, what makes you not perfect? For starters, mistakes. I mean, we ain't got enough time in the day for how many mistakes that have been made. As for the aspect of how I know I'm not perfect, because I know that I can be inconsistent with things that I want to do with my life. You know what I'm saying? You know how some people with workouts, you know what I'm saying? Like how 1 minute, you know, that person that's been working out for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you kind of see them fall off, or you started a new diet and then eventually fell off. Like you was vegan for like 3 months, and then you caught them with a big ass slab of ribs, you know what I'm saying, like the next the next week after that. And so it's just something that recognizes that you're human. You know what I'm saying? From my own perspective, what makes me not perfect is the fact that I'm human. And humans are flawed, very flawed. I mean, there's some humans that have come along the way that have made us feel like we had to be perfect in order to be accepted, loved, all these things, you know what I'm saying? But I think they're doing exactly what was done to them, if you will. So trying to see yourself as just human and nothing more, it can be quite helpful. But at the same time, you want to strive, you want to have that work ethic, you want to have that striving for perfection type work ethic. At the same time, remembering that you're human. So it's a little bit of a balance, and you let your fear drive your passion sometimes. And the fear of making a mistake can almost fuel you towards doing things that you didn't really realize you could even do. I think what makes me not perfect is the mistakes that I know that I've continuously make day to day, really in communication. Like I said, I won't pretend to act like, you know, I was, like I have the greatest communication at times. Like any other person, I'll deal with fear in my own way. And depending on how I'm used to dealing with things, you know what I'm saying, will determine the way that I respond to shit. And you can't knock a person for doing the best they can with what they have. And that's something that has to be reminded from time to time, especially dealing with your folks, your parents, and realizing that truth be told, they're doing the best that they can with the knowledge that they have. Now, granted, if you feel like you would do something differently, it's because you don't have that same knowledge as them, and I guess that's the difficult part, to believe that somebody thinks just like you. And even if they look like you, they may come from them, they don't necessarily look like you, feel like you know what I mean? And even for me as a dad, figuring it out daily, especially the way that the cards were dealt for the situation, doing the best that you can. And truth be told, I believe my kid is doing the best that she can with what she has, the situation that she's in. You know, I think we all do, really. But we can get caught up in what the definition of this is, and you know what I'm saying, and then weigh ourselves off of it. I think social media has definitely helped usher in that mentality where we compare ourselves. Like, if I ain't got what they got, then I must not be living. You know what I'm saying? And but it's all about the life you have, because no matter where you look, no matter where you go, somebody will always have more or less, and that's really just the ego. the ego that feels the need to be perfect and feel like you have to have this in order to be good, you know what I'm saying? But knowing that you're fine just the way you are, you know what I'm saying? Of course we got flaws, but I think that's the beauty of it. And I had a talk with my best friend and T-Dot, you know what I'm saying? Me and T-Dot was talking, and we were talking about judging, right? Asked me like, do I feel like I judge? I guess technically I do, but I don't think it's in a sense of like, I don't believe in I'm not judging in a sense of tearing oneself down. You know, if anybody I could probably judge more, it's probably myself. If anything, if I judge others, it's more like, yeah, I don't like that. That's something I've decided that I don't want that in my life. So it gets pushed out. You know what I mean? Because you got to control your life. If you just let anything into it, you're going to get contaminated. I mean, you think about it. You do anything on a computer, you get viruses. So you have to be very cognizant with the personalities and the behaviors that you engage with on a day-to-day basis in your life. And that is family, friends, co-workers, you know what I mean? So in the aspect of judging, yeah, I'm judging as far as like what is best for me and my mental health, if you will. And everybody's what's best for somebody may not be for the next person, you know what I mean? And I think that's the challenge that it is, especially in relationships, be it friends, be it intimacy, be it, you know what I'm saying, trying to find a marriage and shit like that. Doing what's best for you may not always match up with the individual that you built a relationship with. And that's something you have to accept, because a lot of people tend to bend on what's best for them in hopes that they get something, you know what I'm saying, whatever that is. But it doesn't always pan out the way that you want it to. So it's a risk, sure. Yeah, it's a risk. But it's really about those mistakes, learning from mistakes. No matter what happens, trusting whatever going forward. Like, sometimes shit won't be pretty. Sometimes things come last minute. Sometimes things, you know, can eat at you, and you allow it to. Truthfully, I understand everything that we do, we're choosing to do it. Whether subconsciously or consciously, we are choosing our behavior. So when something happens to me, and I have no control over what happens to me, I have only control of how I respond to it. So if you say some hurtful shit to me, and I choose anger as that response, the anger really only hurts me. I mean, the situation may be understood from my anger, you know, for me to respond a certain way, but I'm choosing to be angry. And you don't have to give two fucks about what you just did. And that's what I mean. So it's like, truthfully, you gotta take care of your own house, your own fire at your house before trying to put out another person's fire. And that's just a small excerpt from this book called How to Fight by Thich Nhat Hanh. You know, it's a Buddhist monk. And that was another thing that me and T-Dot had talked about one time, about the whole thing. That was one of the passages that stuck out to her, was putting out your own fire before trying to put out a fire at somebody else's house. And all in all, that's what I mean about how do I know that I'm not perfect? Because I don't always do that. I don't always put out the fire in my house first. I got to control everybody else's house. I was brought up putting out fires for everybody else, so I'm like almost conditioned to that shit. And it's like trying to reel yourself back in when it comes to putting out, like trying to take on too much, trying to be there for everybody else to almost like to prove your worth, if you will. And you don't have to do anything to prove yourself. You're just valuable right there in that moment, and just loved unconditional. You got to love yourself unconditionally. But what makes me not perfect? Let's see. Decisions that have been made that have been very, very costly, in life. You know what I'm saying? Like things that have been said that you're not able to take back. Hearts that have been broken, people that have broken your heart. You know what I mean? Like there's many things that can show how imperfect we are as humans here on this earth, and like pointing. And I have no room to point any fingers at anyone. So you know, if it is my understanding, like granted, I know I mentioned a thing about judging earlier, but I believe I love the quote about if you judge, there's no way you can love. And learning to do that shit is a bitch, you know, especially coming from like the culture in which you come from, when you just used to like you're used to doing the dozens with people. You know, used to ragging on somebody, and you're used to them trying to rag on you, like trying to be prepared for that shit. And that's all rooted in our ego. It's just about winning, you know what I'm saying? Or defense. It's a defense mechanism, whatever you want to call it. But it's life, and that's what life is. Sometimes, you know, people talk about folk. People do things. I mean, look at how Kanye, you know, the shit he'll say out of his mouth, and then the shit people say out of their mouth about Kanye. And then somebody else will say something, and then the shit that person says, and you know what I'm saying, it goes round and round, like people having opinions about other people's lives instead of focusing on their own. And that's what I want to kind of focus on. That's also another reason why I'm not perfect, because sometimes I'll have focus on other people's lives, like generally anybody else. It's almost like watching a reality show, like to be so engaged with somebody else's life, but you have to switch the channel to yours and focus on your reality show and what you can do, and look at yourself, how you can better yourself daily, and watch the growth that happens, you know what I'm saying, for being so in tune with yourself. But what makes me not perfect? I'm human. If you can get away with anything, what would you do? If I could get away with anything, it would probably be forcing, I would say forcing us all to take a look at force us to really take mental health fucking seriously, so that we can prevent a lot of shit that's going on in the world. And a lot of people feeling like something's being done to them, when the individuals that were, whatever they did, it was really all about them and their displeasure within themselves. The self-hatred has to go somewhere else. So, you know, if you hate yourself inside, it projects itself outward. You know what I'm saying? That anger builds up, the anger for not liking yourself. So you have to justify it by validating yourself and tearing somebody else down. You know what I mean? But if we take mental health serious, as we probably should, all of us, you know, all of us are guilty for it. I think that actually I know that we will be in such a better position as a society, really, you know. But the thing is, it's so funny that trying to looking for a perfect world. You know, in a perfect world, everybody takes mental health seriously. There's no hatred, there's no racism, there's no classism. It's just humans being humans, and it's learning to like treat each other like how it just may seem in a dream or some shit like that. But a lot of people lose money if we don't. If we don't operate on hate, if we don't operate on jealousy, if we don't operate on these random ass shit that pretty much pits us against one another. Because if you don't have any criminals, you got criminal lawyers. You have, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have any sickness, doctors, you know what I'm saying? Doctors lose jobs. Like, there's many things, you know, it's like you got to take the good with the bad, if you will, with that. But getting but forcing people to understand mental health and look at themselves and how it impacts their families. You know what I'm saying? How a father's impact has on a child as to what they say to them. You know what I'm saying? How one reveres you as like this. You know, when you're younger, you revere your parents as like gods and stuff like that, right? So everything they say is law. Everything they do, you look up to them. You want to be just like them. You want to please them. You want to make them happy. So when a parent says something that's detrimental to that child's development, they go on looking at life like, damn, this is how the world is. Because if my parents can do this shit, then everybody can do that shit to me. And it's unfortunate because it's a false sense of reality that you're stuck on, and you stay with that shit for a long fucking time. And also, it teaches you what to accept and not to accept in life. And so if your mental health is together, you'll have better sense of your boundaries. You know, you'll have healthier boundaries, like when you deal with folk, because some people really be trying you. And if you allow them to, they will take advantage. They'll take full advantage of you if you allow them to. And you think that being nice is going to get you a certain response and behavior. You got another thing coming. That's not how it works. That's not how life. That's not how life works. I mean, honestly, a person can only meet you as far as they've come in their life. As far as like just emotionally intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Emotional maturity. And so mental health will help us all deal with our situation just a little bit better. I believe that. I firmly do believe that. I mean, I know it's done wonders for me, and I definitely have a long way to go. But it's been unraveling a lot. What I've seen through past situations, through my own mistakes, through my own things that I've wanted to be perfect on, feeling the need to be perfect in order to be loved type shit. All of that shit I'm sure you guys have heard in many of these fucking videos. But like seeing that the present day couldn't be any better. And the only thing you can do is work forward to the present moment. And you obviously have an idea for stuff, you know what I'm saying, like in the future or what you want to do. But really keying in on the present moment and how essential it is to eliminate that of anxiety, eliminate that of depression, eliminate the thoughts of yesterday that plague you, that bring you down, that make you feel like I'm not a good father, I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good brother, I'm not a good sister, whatever it is, I could have done more for them and all that shit. But it's really about forgiving yourself truthfully and understanding that you did the best you can with the knowledge that you had. And sometimes it's tough. And then when you're used to people that obviously live in a perfect world themselves, they're perfect, they don't make mistakes, and you got them trying to chastise you and tear you down. When in actuality, they're only doing what was done to them. So it just keeps passing on the poison instead of learning to like heal. Like instead of belittling one, let's educate. You know what I mean? And let's not act like we come across as perfect, like we got everything figured out. We all make mistakes. So if we all make mistakes, then what's the need of tearing one down to make yourself feel better? I think I believe that's weak on us as humans to do so. And what can I say? I'm guilty of all of them, throughout my life, and seeing those things and moving forward, trying to create new ways of living, you know what I'm saying? Going through a course of neuroplasticity, I believe I said that term correctly, but creating new connections in your mind that enable you to excel, ascend into your purpose, if you will. So that is it's really my mindset right now, you know what I mean? And like being able to unplug, like when you feel like there's a lot going on, you gotta unplug. You gotta take yourself off social media. You gotta just sit with your you gotta sit with your thoughts. You gotta sit away from the phone. If you're a phone addict, like I find myself throughout my life, I have been. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta put that fucking phone down somewhere where you're not able to get to it, because that dopamine in your body has to have that to have your mood up. You know what I mean? It's like an addict. You know what I mean? So getting that dopamine, what be it from the phone, be it from the notifications, the blue screen, all that stuff, you're going to have to discipline yourself. And it ain't easy. This shit ain't easy, you know what I'm saying? And like recognizing, damn, you really do have an issue. And being honest with yourself, right? And taking time to work on those issues and discipline yourself. And you don't owe anybody an apology. You don't owe anybody, you know what I'm saying, any explanation for doing what's best for you. Now, we all have our lives, you know what I'm saying? And you got to take care of yourself. It's not to say that you're not there for anyone, but take time for yourself and recognize how valuable you are. You know what I mean? And just be on your shit and see what you can do to better yourself. Am I living my best life? That's the coined phrase. Is, a lot of people say they're living their best life and then they're sitting in turmoil. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just be honest with yourself. You can lie to anyone else, but definitely be honest with yourself. So forcing, if I could get away with anything, it'd be forcing all of us to take mental health very seriously, so that this planet can operate just a little bit better in the way that nature designed it to be. If you can get away with anything, like I said, I would be to forcing subconsciously to get all of us to take mental health that damn serious, like that much more serious, in hopes that we can just pretty much better ourselves, man, and just see ourselves as for the flawed humans that we are, and just how to work at it. You know what I'm saying? Not judging anybody, not tearing somebody down, working on your own shit. If you focused on you ain't got time to focus on anybody else. That's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? Small minds talk about people. You know what I'm saying? And large minds talk about ideas and like what they want to do for themselves. So just think about that when you're around folk and they just want to tear people down. Like small minds. They ain't got nothing else going on to talk about everybody else. But how do you build yourself? How you gonna get your shit together? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I stand by the notion that mental health should be taken very seriously as we all heal and figure this shit out. Healing is very uncomfortable, but it's definitely necessary. So, forcing people to take mental health seriously. How did your first heartbreak change you? The first heartbreak, it changed me in a sense that the nice guy shit, that we talk about all the time. And seeing, it's like, oh, she couldn't appreciate you. No, she's a woman, man. And understanding female nature. That's with anything, you know what I'm saying? A woman can only pretend for so long. Like if you're just an undeveloped man, you know what I mean? And I'm very undeveloped because, I would say I was 14 years old. I mean, I'll go from the child, I can say that has an effect, going forward. I was like, oh, that's puppy love. But I would say from a mental health standpoint, it was impactful. But there was also blind loyalty. I mean, it's one of those things where this is a time where there was no social media. You only talked on the phone. You had to probably ask that girl mama if you could talk to her past 11. And, you know what I'm saying? So it was it's like you didn't see each. We didn't have cars, and we weren't asking our parents. There was like a distance between us, so we weren't asking our parents to like get us to meet up or whatever. Like, at least I wasn't doing that shit, and I don't think she was either. But during the summer, man, it was reckless. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a sense of blind loyalty. You know, I was flirting with girls throughout the summer. This summer of eighth, yeah, summer of 8th grade, and you know, just being a kid. You know, I don't know any better. It teaches you what to do with like do with girls, but accepting that whatever we did in the summer was what we did. You know what I'm saying? But we get back to school, and now we're in this relationship, right? And you're head over heels over her. You're being a, you know what I'm saying, a simp, if you will, simping hard, whatever, you know what I'm saying, like waiting at lockers, you know what I'm saying, carrying books and shit, and just like waiting hand and foot, like a good, you know, like a good boy. You see that shit all the time, like in TV shows and stuff like that, Disney TV shows and stuff, with a guy that has an attraction for this girl. He's just there, like waiting hand and foot. It's a very sad sight to see. You know what I'm saying? But then getting word that this individual is like I said, whatever we did in the summer, we're kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, and even in this moment, still kid. But it's as for this impact, like we look differently because you got people coming up to you like, oh man, your girl was like letting whoever touch on her in the class and shit like that, and it's like, damn. And like I sat and thought to myself, because I remember something my dad said one time, right, when I was little. It was like, don't you fight over no girl. So, you know, you keep that in your head. Whatever your parents say, you hold on to that. But what I will say and challenge my father's notion with that, it's never about her. It's about the fact that an individual feels they can, you know, be disrespectful towards you. And that's what I would share with if I had a son, I would share that with him, that it's not about it's not about the girl. It's not about the girl and her allowing that to happen. It's about this individual believes that knowing that you're in this relationship, he can give a fuck less. And it's the, you know what I'm saying, it's the principle of the matter. Because if one sees that they can do this to you, then everybody's gonna feel like they can do this to you. You know what I mean? But was it worth it back then? Looking back, not at all. But walking around school just feeling like everybody looking at you like this type of shit, your ego, it gets to you. So it's like being a fool. And it's one-sided, of course, you know what I'm saying? So obviously I'm looking at it from one side, but I'm sure she probably could look like a fool too if she knew the shit, you know, what was going on during the summer. But just that impact, right, of that feeling of a breakup, when you really, you develop what you thought were strong feelings for someone, and then it just doesn't pan out the way that you want it to. So that's one of the childhood. So I'll talk about another as an adult. And as an adult, this situation is more, it's not even about somebody that you were dating. It's more about someone that you just valued. And when you recognize that that individual is so dealing with their own shit mentally, as they have been for years, that they don't realize that they projected that shit on to you, and you put them in such high regard, right? So it's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's unfortunately it's life, you know, and what it boils down to is expectations. And when you revere somebody so high in life, you know what I'm saying, they're going to let you down because it's going according to your expectations of them. And you have to accept life as it is, truthfully. I don't care who it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that anybody that you can call somebody amazing, you feel like this person is amazing. They are very capable of hurting you, or you allow. They're very capable of you allowing them to make you feel hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because only you decide. You decide what offends you. So, I mean, physical. If it's not physical, that is. You know what I'm saying? If it's not physical, then everything is all about your mind. You know what I'm saying? So you allow a person to make you feel offended. And I allow this individual to offend me, truthfully. And because of my own conditional love, my own expectations, my own ego, and definitely entitlement, definitely entitlement about my relationship with this person. So I am constantly throwing tantrums about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Or at least I was at this point in time. And what I mean by like how it changed me, it changed the way I viewed people in life. Because if this individual can make me feel this way, then anyone else can. You know what I mean? And truthfully, it's miscommunication. Let's call it that. It's just miscommunication on both sides, and not having the education to know how to do so, to communicate in a healthy way. I mean, you know, it's not very many people that's actually focusing on that shit. You're kind of just going with whatever's been given to your family and taking it from there. You know what I mean? But to see the error and trying to navigate the situation is major. And it took a lot out of me. You know what I'm saying? It took a lot out of me for a very, very long time, which definitely heightened my porn addiction, if you will. It heightened my phone addiction. It heightened everything. Just trying to feel whole again, loved, if you will, and just this fabricated idea of what life was, and it's not what you think it is, and you really have to. I know for me, I have to learn to not try to run away with the idea of someone or something, and really live in the present and embrace it for what it is, because it's not always what you want it to be. That's just life itself. Establishing healthy boundaries and forgiveness, right? Forgiveness for many things. Number one, forgiving yourself for what you didn't know at the time, and not beat yourself up over that. You know, the negative self-talk. You know, take those voices out of your head that you didn't put there. You would never tell yourself. You would never tell one of your friends some of the shit you say to yourself. And so taking it easy on your own self, you know what I mean? That is a challenge. I don't know. I guess we get this, we get like this, we put ourselves on this pedestal, like, nah, I'm supposed to be this shit. So I gotta take on this shit and then just rise to the challenge. But whenever a mistake is made, then it's like, you know, you got your head in your hands and shit like that. You just feel like a failure. And you're not a failure. You know what I'm saying? Just because you fail doesn't make you a failure. You have to fail forward. You got to make mistakes. This way didn't work, so we got to work out another way. You know what I mean? You're a baby trying to learn to walk in life. That's really it. From the time you were born to the time you die, you're a baby that's learning to walk. And in the sense that if that baby stopped the first time it fell, never fucking walk again. But learning, all right, your brain is going to figure it out. That's the thing. That's the thing we have to teach ourselves with when you have a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And with the fixed mindset, it's like, oh shit, guess I wasn't made to walk. Ma, you're gonna have to do everything all my years. But if you have the growth mindset, you have this you know that your brain is going to work at doing whatever you're trying to do. No matter what it is, our brain starts to focus on that. Where awareness goes, energy flows. So staying on top of that, like, oh, I gotta figure this shit out. You're gonna find different ways to do it. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna find out different routes to obtain the goal. And that's the beauty and that's the power of the human brain, is that we have that ability to figure shit out somehow, some way. You know what I mean? It's all about the effort though, because not everybody's willing to put in the effort in their life for the things that they want. There's people that feel like shit should be handed to them, like they're entitled to things. But you actually have to work for it. You have to work for certain, especially emotional goals. Now, physical stuff, tangible shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might be born into money or stuff like that. But as for building relationships, and that's what this life is really about, the connections. When we leave, we're going to think about the connections. I mean, we're not going to think about anything when we're gone. But like when that person that we love is gone, we're going to have the connections. I mean, that material shit will fade away. It will weather. But whether it'll all fade away. It'll be removed from existence, and that's just it. And some of it may hold up in value, other things may not. But if we do not learn how to connect, we're going to live a very, I believe, an unfulfilling life. I don't care how you connect, whether you connect with nature, whether you connect with yourself, whether you connect with others, whatever it is, find a way to fucking connect and see what wonders it does for yourself. Like, we get so caught up in this technology and shit, these material things, you know what I mean? Clothing, we like to stay fly, you know what I'm saying? Got to have our shit, you feel me? But at the same time, there's nothing like that connection with another human mind that allows you to think freely, and think how you want to think, not what the conformity wants you to think, like groupthink type shit. But being okay with not having the same mindset on something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not doing your best not to judge others for not thinking the way that you think, because you believe that you're right, which is ego, And most people think about ego, they think about the arrogance and shit like that. But the ego is like another aspect of the ego that fucks with us is believing that everything is about us, a child's mindset, But heartbreak, you guys know I go on tangents, I ramble and shit like that. But heartbreak, it just changed the way I looked at everything. I used to have this particular heartbreak allowed me to look at things from a red pill mind. You know what I'm saying? Like taking life for what it is and not my fabricated ideas of it, of life, like the blue pill, like the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Looking at life in the Matrix and believing that this is how life has to be. You got people married to, like you have, for instance, like, and I give an example. You have gay people that are in straight relationships because their family may shun them. You know what I'm saying? If they were to ever come, like come out and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like not allowing yourself to be who you are, if you will. You got people of a certain race dating this particular race because their family would not approve of them dating another race. And, but the ability to accept yourself is, it's the first step. It's the hardest step you're gonna ever have to do, because it is within us as humans to want to be a part of the tribe. It's a subconsciously we just do that because it meant for survival a long time ago. But now, I mean, we don't have to rely upon a group for the things that we need. You can go to the store to get food, water and shelter and all that stuff. Is it great to have a close relationship with people? Sure. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, you always got to shoot for a connection. But connecting with yourself it makes you versatile. You know what I'm saying? It makes you very much a great defender of life. And before you can be a friend to a true friend to anyone. You have to be a true friend to yourself. However you treat yourself is how you're going to treat others. And but like I say, the heartbreak aspect of it, it's just it changed the way I trusted my ability to see people around me. And it took a while to get back to a point where I felt okay, like, of letting things in and trying to, branch out and connect with others. Because I just thought that the world was just full of people who took advantage of you. And I mean, there still are. And those people are in pain. I mean, one perspective can say that those people are in pain. But you have to change the world. But you can't change the world, and you won't be able to change the world until you change yourself. And that's the first part. So, putting in that work. Heartbreak changed me for the better. It changed me for the good. It allowed me to see the ugly in the world so that I can look at the beauty within me. You know what I mean? And I just thought about that as I'm sitting here talking about it, man. That I'm grateful for it, right? I'm grateful for it. You don't get today without going through all that shit. So just grateful for how it panned out. It made me aware. It made me strong. Didn't necessarily make me feel safe, but it made me strong. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make my own self feel safe in an unsafe world. So heartbreak can be a bitch, but it pushes you towards your purpose.